A seaport in southeast Ireland, Waterford is the country's oldest city. It is said to have been founded by the Vikings in 914 AD as a walled city, and parts of its ancient walled core still remain. Reginald's Tower, located on Waterford Quay, is thought to be Europe's oldest mortared stone tower, which dates from about the 12th century and is now a civic museum. Just to the right of Reginald's Tower in the Viking Triangle, you'll find a 40-foot replica of the Viking longboat with a red sail named Vadrafjord, the Viking name for Waterford. In 1783, the famed glass manufacturer Waterford Crystal began here, and it showcases Waterford's key values of craftsmanship. The factory is located in the heart of the city and is surrounded by a cluster of museums which detail the proud history of Waterford.
Now, believe it or not, it would take almost 100 years then before Waterford Crystal would be established, and that was in 1947. And it was due to two men. Charles Bacek, who was from Czechoslovakia, he had left his home country after the Second World War due to a communist takeover, and he was invited here to Waterford by a Dublin jeweller called Bernard Fitzpatrick. Now, Bernard Fitzpatrick was very familiar with the glassmaking process. He had travelled across Europe prior to the war and had visited several glassmaking factories, and he knew that Charles Bacek both owned a glass factory and had the business acumen to get the business up and running as well. So between them, they established Waterford Crystal, and in 1950 then, Charles went back across Europe with the manager at the time, Noel Griffin. They hired 30 blowers and cutters, and amongst them was a gentleman called Miroslav Havel. Now, Miroslav Havel was a master in all aspects of glassmaking. He went on to train the Irish apprentices, and he became our first chief designer at Waterford Crystal as well. So he was a very busy man back in the day.
Fully qualified as a blower. They take a 5-year apprenticeship, followed by 2 years training, and you can get a master. So 8 years. Place air and now water on it. And this is the attached technical check. So this is the first of 6 written checks carried out on every single sheet. If it passes the check, it's placed in a kiln over here on the right hand side. The raw materials used here are silica sand imported from Belgium. This is the lead content imported from Holland, and potash imported from Germany. Just in front now we can see the craftsman here is placing the sheet in the cast iron mold, flowing in to create a hollow in the sheet and fill up the full shape of the mold. The sheet on top is called the cap, and that will be removed later. And we see the next department where they remove the cap.
In the marking department, the crystal is marked with a temporary geometric grid that assists the master cutter as he cuts the pattern onto the crystal. Each brilliant crystal piece is cut strictly from memory, with these lines simply acting as a guideline for precision and accuracy. In the cutting department, one can see the master cutter at work, utilizing the masterful skills he has learnt during an 8-year apprenticeship. The master cutter relies on his skill and dexterity to cut patterns, applying the exact pressure to make the cut without damaging the integrity of the vessel.
We make 100 People's Choice Awards every week on the bottom 2 tables, so feel free to go down and have a look.
In this job here is actually our engraving department, and it takes 10 years to fully qualify as an engraver. So they do the 5-year apprenticeship, the 3 years to master, and they go to art college for 2 years as well. So